This conference
Yeah.
will now be recorded.
So I'll share my screen. Shiva, if you can please provide me that visibility. Thank you. So coming to myself, my name is Lata. I have total 6 years of IT experience, and from last 4 years, I am working into different technologies or different technologies under Power Platform, Power Apps like Power Portals, Canvas, as well as Power Automate and Model Driven apps. Yeah, so I'm working in one of the organization as of now. Yeah, so today, as part of our demo, I'll be providing you a basic introduction of the Power Platform, what exactly it is, and what are all the available products we do have under that Power Platform. Okay, hope you are able to see my screen. And guys, if you have any questions, please please post it in the chat window, or you can stop me and ask your concerns in the middle. Okay, so hope my screen is visible.
Yes, Lata.
Yes, yes,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. So, Power Platform. So, instead of calling this as a Power Platform, we can call this as Microsoft Power Platform because Microsoft has launched it as a Power Platform with multiple products available underneath of it. So, what exactly the Power Platform is and what are all the available products underneath of it? So, Power Platform is a combination of Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, as well as Power BI and Power Automate. So, what all we are going to have today in our as part of our training, what we are going to discuss is like what are all these products we do have and the basic introduction of all these available products. Okay, so really Power Platform is really an inclusive technology where we can analyze the business, we can take actions accordingly, and we can automate the things. So not only instead of depending on some other technologies or something else, everything will be available under Power Automate, which makes our lives very easy actually. So don't need to worry much, like we need to write coding and we need to analyze most of the things. So no need to have that kind of tension here. To almost most of the things are by default available in the environment itself, but we should have basic knowledge how to make use of all those controls or components to build an app. Okay, so the content what I am going to cover today is like what is the Power Apps and what are all the different types of Power Apps we do have under Power Platform, and what is Power Automate and Power Virtual Agents. Okay, so before moving to all these topics, a simple intro of Power Apps is like, so you all know, as is a technology world, we do have multiple options, right? To build an apps, like we can choose any of the technology to build an app. But coming to the Power App, so the main motto of any application is to interact with the data, correct? So take any example for ticket booking or taking appointment in hospitals, what are it maybe, what we supposed to do, we supposed to provide our details. So they'll enter our details sorry, in any of the format. Like some hospitals they'll note down, some of them will maintain everything in a system, or they'll maintain excels. Depends to it completely depends upon the organization how they want to organize the data. So whatever may be the application, the main motto of the application is to properly maintain the data so that they can work accordingly, correct? So even for the Power Apps as well, we can build our own apps based on the business requirement to act accordingly on the data. So if you remember, like nowadays also few of the small organizations they prefer to go with Excels, or they'll be writing in the notepads, or they'll be maintaining some notebooks. So all these things. So in order to overcome this, we do have multiple, but Power Apps is the one of the like it's a great technology compared to all others. What do we have in the current market? Okay, so what makes the difference between other apps and the Power Apps? The difference here is like data. Coming to the data, we can maintain in multiple formats, right? As I told you, it can be in Excel or other databases as well, like Oracle database, SharePoint database. Like that, we can have multiple other databases. But the feasibility this Power Apps is going to provide us is we can connect with any of the database and we can create our app. Okay, so almost 275 connectors we do have in our Power Platform. So we can connect any of the database, we can do our operations, or we can create a completely well-versed app using that data resides in any of the databases. Okay, for that no need to worry much. Simply we need to make use of the connectors what do we have in our Power Apps. Okay, and accessibility wise, we all know like everything is like cloud now. So even Power Apps resides or lives in cloud actually. So no need to take care of all the infrastructure in our organizations where we reside. So everything will be taken care by the Microsoft. Simply we need to buy those subscriptions and we need to make use of those subscriptions. And if you want to make use of this app, and if you want to share this app to someone else, there is a feasibility to share that app accordingly, and the users can access the app. So for accessing also no need to have prescribed set of infrastructure. Those are responsive in nature. So you can make use of your mobiles, tablets, and PCs. You can laptops. So you can make use of any of the platform to use your Power App. Okay, these are the basic advantages what do we have under Power Apps. And coming to the Power Apps, what exactly the Power App is? So as I told you, Power Platform, we do have Power Apps, Power Virtual Agents, Power BI, and Power Automate. What are those four? Power Apps, Power BI, Power Virtual Agents, and Power Automate. So under Power Apps, again we do have three different types of apps. One is Canvas app, one is model driven app, we'll call that as MDA, and one is Power Portal. What makes the difference between these three and when to use what? So, okay, so there are three different types of apps available under Power Apps. One is Canvas, one is model driven, and the one is Power Portal. Okay, and the main motto of these Power Apps is like think you heard if I think you heard it. I'm not sure, but if you know the basics of Power Apps, like at least you just hear the word Power Apps. The first statement comes everywhere is like no code, low code. So what exactly it means by? So at the beginning I told you, right? So no need to worry much about the coding part. So basically the main motto of Power Apps is to reduce the code. If possible completely, if not make use of small chunks of code which helps us to build our app. So the main, it's like a slogan or in something like that for a Power Apps: low code, no code. So most probably everything will be available in the environment itself, where we can make use of the controls. Drag and drop feature will be there, where we can drag all the controls and we'll make use of those controls to build our app. It can be a portal, it can be a canvas, or it can be a model driven. So we do have that feasibility, and we do have multiple functions available. So no need to write explicitly all the calculations what we supposed to do in our normal coding language like .NET or Java, something like that. No need to write complete logic. So in order to do some additions or multiplications, what we'll do, we'll take that input and we'll do multiplications and we'll do some additions or divisions. We'll do calculations basically. So here no need to do those many number of calculations. Simply we'll make use of the functions available actually. So sum, sum, and we can pass the parameters. So how we are supposed to use functions in the Excel, the same way all the functions will be available for us in the Power Apps, not only in Canvas, but we can make use of the functions in Power Automates as well. So wherever it's required, we can make use of the functions. So that's why with a small skill set, a basic skill set, we can create the Power Apps accordingly. Not only for the basic skill set, if you want to implement an advanced functionality, so if you are like more expertise in the Canvas or whatever it may be in the Power Apps, you can build the apps accordingly. If you are having more visibility across the Power Apps, you can build complex applications as well. So it completely depends on the business and the skill set. So but with basic skill set and with the basic knowledge, we can start working on the Power Apps. Okay. And so coming to the different types of Power Apps, as I told you, what we do have Canvas as a first app. So what is a Canvas app? Canvas app is nothing but a mobile based application. Okay. So here also, as I told you in the beginning, like the previous slide, no need to have your own design or HTML, something to design your application. Simply we'll make use of all the controls, okay, like text boxes, drop downs, some labels, headers, everything, whatnot, almost all the things like galleries. We can make use of all the existing controls and we can build a rich UI oriented app in the Canvas app. So Canvas app can be have we can have this Canvas app in two different screen sizes. One is tablet and mobile. We can choose that based on the business need while creating the app itself. So even here we do have a feasibility like, do I need to create the app from the scratch? So there is a feasibility. We can create the app from scratch, but for the learners or for the new people who are going to start on Canvas app, we do have templates available. What we can do is like we can pick a template and we can create an app, which will by default create a basic app for us, like how to navigate to a next screen, how to make use of the functions, how can we update the data back to the database with small set of functions and small three screen layout will be created for us. A basic Canvas app will be created for us. For learning that will be very easy for us to learn actually. So by seeing that, you can create your own app from the scratch as well. So we do have some templates available. We can pick that template and we can build the app. If not, we can create the app from the scratch. Okay. Here in this Canvas app, the most feasibility or the important thing what do we have is like, as I told you, we can connect with multiple databases. That feasibility is available in Canvas app. So not only you will be connecting with one respective or dynamics related database, you can connect with the SharePoint database or some other databases, and you can create the mobile applications like using Canvas app. So no need to have much logic here. Simply on each and every control what we are going to have, on top of that control we will be having multiple properties. So simply we need to use some functions on those properties. Simply we'll make use of the functions on that respective control. So which will control the functionality. So no need to explicitly go and write something else somewhere. So simply connecting to our database and simply drag and drop the controls and design your UI. Functionality wise, simply we need to go and write few functions for updating or for retrieving or getting the related entity related information or related table information. So in order to retrieve those kind of things, we need to write small functions. But as I told you, we do have multiple databases. We do have that feasibility to connect with the multiple databases in the Canvas. Yeah. If you see here, drag and drop various controls and add the desired functionality. So simply by writing the Excel style formulas. So as I told you, it's like same, almost similar Excel, how we are going to write formulas like sum, or text of something or value string, so whatnot, same kind of formulas will be available here. Okay. And coming to the model driven app, so it's not like we'll be having multiple connectors here. It's it's completely depend on the dataverse, what exactly the dataverse is. Excuse me. So model driven apps completely build from data in Microsoft Dataverse. It's not like on building the apps on some other databases related data. It's completely or purely related to the Microsoft Dataverse. So if you heard about the word dynamics, there we'll be having a dataverse where we supposed to maintain our data. So like SharePoint, Oracle, SQL, the same way we'll be having a dataverse kind of database. Okay. Only on top of this respective database we can build our model driven app. Here also we do have nowadays, like recent trend, we do have drag and drop options, but previously we don't have drag and drop. Like we do have drag and drop, but not directly on the UI actually. We do have a separate pane where we will be dragging and dropping all the controls, but now directly you can drag and drop all the fields, all these things directly onto the UI in model driven app. And here the model driven app, it's completely a data oriented app basically. So in Canvas app it's not that visible to display uh, all the details, or if business is completely focusing on the data, they cannot go and use a model Canvas app. Why? Because it's a small layout where we'll be showcasing a few details of any of the record. But here the model driven app, it's completely a data oriented app, I can say. And when we are preferring to have data oriented app, and when we are directly connecting with the dataverse, not with some other databases, then we can prefer the model driven app. So model driven app most probably will be uh, building using our laptops or PCs, but it's completely responsive in nature. No need to worry like, do I need to access it from the laptop or PC? No, we can access it from any platform like mobiles or tablets as well. Okay, and here explicitly you can define all the relationships between the tables. So whatever may be the business or whatever may be the data we do have, it's not like we'll be maintaining the entire data in a single table, right? Even your college information, whatever it may be, how they'll be segregating on branch basis, or they'll be segregating on yeah, branch basis basically, and they'll be segregating on aggregation basis like percentage basis. So in order to maintain, like if they are having different branches for the same organization, they'll be maintaining on organization basis, correct? All these things cannot be maintained in a single table or in a single Excel or whatever it may be the database you are going to prefer. How they'll be segregating, they'll be taking one as a base, and based on that base, suppose consider your college or something, your college is like having two or three different branches, and each and every branch basis, and underneath of every branch again we'll be having different streams, and underneath of each stream we'll be having different uh, years basically, like first year, second year, third year, fourth year, something like that. So based on the base table we'll be segregating the details. Like that here also we can maintain multiple tables in order to maintain the data, and we can maintain the relationship between all the tables. If relationship is not there, based on the base table you cannot retrieve the child related information. So okay, so in order to provide that feasibility, model driven app, we do have we do have that feasibility to define the relationships, and we can design our own forms how it has to be visible. So all these kinds of feasibility we do have available in the model driven app. So Canvas app, I told you we do have multiple databases, and we can they're completely focused on the UI. So as here the Microsoft Dataverse is there, right? The same Dataverse as a DB, we can prefer for the Canvas app as well. So not SharePoint, all other details, all other databases will be there, right? Among all those databases, Microsoft Dataverse is one of that. We can connect with the Dataverse to create Canvas app as well. But model driven app completely focus on the Dataverse. Okay, the same way we'll be having a portal app. So what makes the difference between a canvas model and portal? So portal is an external facing application. So it's nothing but a web application actually. Model driven app, canvas app, there are some restriction. It's like user based or security based applications. But here also in portal we do have security, but we can create an application for the external users. Like we can create authenticated user or anonymous users. What is a difference between these two? Anonymous, like if you hit any of the website, few websites, without asking you to enter your credentials, it will provide you some blogs or some details about the website, right? So anonymous users, like who is not having any address in the sense like who is not having any identification with respect to that application, they'll be able to access the website. But few applications will be there which will expect you to enter your details. So that's nothing but they'll be taking the details and they'll be storing those details as a contact in their system. And whenever you tries to log into the next time to the same website, they'll just check whether this respective person is there in our list or not. Then they'll allow you to access the website. So when they are checking for the credentials, it's like authenticated users. When we don't need to provide any of our details, then it's nothing but an anonymous users. So it's like completely external facing. Okay, any customer can access, any customer can raise a request. So it's kind of an external application, it's a web based application. Okay, here also no need to worry much. We do have the same feasibility of drag and drop options, and this portal app is also completely built on top of Dataverse, data held in the Dataverse. So Microsoft Dataverse, even a model driven app or a portal app, we are supposed to use data resides in the Dataverse, not other than that. Okay. But if you want to move this data from the dataverse to, like if something got created, but if you want to move this data to some other databases, that can be done. But this app will act on the data resides in the dataverse. Hope it was clear till here. If you have any questions, please do let me know.
Yeah, please continue.
Okay, thank you. So till now we saw what are all the different apps we do have. So just now I told you, right, if you want to move data from, like on create of data in data Microsoft Dataverse, we can send the data to some other databases. So how that can be achieved and what exactly the Power Automate is. So as I told you, Power Automate provides a feasibility to do some automations. What exactly the automations are? So completely we are focusing on the data. The automations are nothing but a create, update, or associate, delete the records. So completely we supposed to act on the data. So in order to act on the data explicitly, in order to go and write some other logic in the backend, what we can prefer is like we can prefer the Power Automate. So Power Automate are nothing but a flows. Microsoft flows, or we now calling this as Power Automate. So what it will do is like it will have 275 connectors available here in the Power Automate. So whenever there is a record creation in your Dataverse, you want to send the same data to SharePoint, you can make use of the SharePoint connector. If you see my second image where I do have like if you see my image underneath, I do have multiple connectors available here. So you can connect with the Teams, you can connect with Dataverse, SharePoint, OneDrive, Microsoft Forms. Like that, you will be having 275 connectors available by default to connect with the respective data and work accordingly. So you want to send an email to someone else when there is a record, when an account got created, you want to send an email to that person whose account got created, like by stating that, hi so and so, your account has been created successfully. So in order to set up these kind of functionalities, in order to have a like a coding part or something, simply what you can do is like you can prefer some actions here. So there are only two things available in the Power Automate. One is trigger and one is action. What should be your trigger point means when your Power Automate has to start, and what is the action you are going to perform. So based on these two things only, you can create or you can build your Power Automate, which will do the work accordingly. No need to no need to have any manual intervention actually. So automatically things will be performed, and it will, however you are going to configure your Power Automate, sending an email or updating a record, or on create of an account you want to create a contact record, so what not, anything can be achieved. Most, almost most of the things can be achieved in the Power Automate. And even as I told you, you want to log errors, so it's a Power Automate. So if you're going to write any logic, what we supposed to use, try catch blocks, right? The same way we do have that feasibility in Power Automates to make use of try and catches. So if something really goes wrong in your business logic, you can catch that information, what exactly went wrong, and you can log that information somewhere like in Teams, wherever it may be. It's up to you. Why? Because we do have multiple other connections available, so we can log the errors as well, so that we can easily identify, okay, so and so got failed and this is the issue for that, and we can rectify accordingly, or we can do some manual changes to that data accordingly. It's completely up to us. Okay, but multiple calculations and all these things, from our end it's not required. Simply configuring the flow will take care of all the things. Okay, for this also, all the functions will be available out of the box, like sum, string functions, concatenate, date time functions. All the functions will be available, but we need to just get a knowledge how to make use of those functions. So no coding at all. Simply make use of the existing connectors or existing actions, and simply writing a few functions. Functions will also be available there itself. Simply we need to make use of those functions by passing our input parameters. That's it. So no coding knowledge is required here as well. Okay. And finally, the Power Virtual Agents. So we do have automated things, we do have UI things, and all these things. Nowadays, like most of the business, so they are like we are interacting with the customers to identify or to answer their questions, right? So Power Virtual Agents are like really uh, for interacting or to maintain the conversation between the customers. We do have a Power Virtual Agents, nothing but a chatbot. Okay, we can integrate the chatbots in our applications actually. Here also, if you are having a basic knowledge on the Power Automate, the same way here we'll be having few conditions, and based on that condition, what will be your next question or what you're going to respond. You can maintain some conditions, yes, no, or some, you can pick up the words from the customer. If that sentence contains so and so word, you can look for that condition and you can act accordingly. You can send the response, or you can again ask the customer to repeat the question. So completely it's up to us. We are going to configure this. I think everyone knows like how chatbot works. Like it will expect some answer, and or it will ask, like as a customer I'll be raising a concern or a question. Based on that question it is going to respond, but how it is going to respond, that all the information, the one who developed the chatbot, he'll be knowing. So as a developers, we should know how to configure the chatbot actually. Okay, and what exactly the purpose of the chatbot, first we should know that. After that, what are the expected questions. We should have some expected set of questions, and based on top of that questions we should retrieve the data. Suppose as I am the customer, I want to know how many cases I raised till now, or whether my respective case got resolved or not by providing the case number. So we can retrieve that information in the configuration what we are creating as of now. It's kind of Power Automate only. Simply we can connect to our data, we can retrieve the case related status, and we can showcase to the customer. So that configuration we can completely set up in the chatbot, and we can make we can deploy the chatbot to any of the application. It can be a Teams or it can be a portal application. We can make use of this chatbot. Okay. So Power Virtual Agents are nothing but a chatbot. So no need to mm, highly skilled or uh, like high knowledge on respective areas only they can do. It's not like that. With basic knowledge and with basic understanding we can create the chatbots as well. See, here itself I told you, right, it completely almost we are supposed to use the Power Automate. The same here as well, we do have that option. And so by building custom workflows using Power Automate. So we need to just, they are calling this as a workflow. We need to maintain that workflow, how it has to respond and what it is expecting, what are all the conditions. But almost all the things what we are going to perform, it is with the help of Power Automate only. So if you know the Power Automate, it's not that a big deal to create the chatbot. Okay. Hope you guys understood, and if you have any questions, please do let me. Any basic questions is fine.
Yes, do you guys have any questions from your side?
Yeah, hi Lata. This all Power Automation Flow and agents will come under one subscription, or it's require different subscription for it?
So Power Automate, we do have if we have the Power App subscription, everything will come under Power Apps. But the only difference is the Dynamics will be there. That's a different subscription. So if you are not interested in Dynamics, but you want to make use of the Power Apps, simply Power Apps in the sense Portal and Power Automate will come, right? And if you want to connect with the Dataverse, then only Dataverse subscription will be available. No need to go for the Dynamics. So it depends actually, and based on the number of users as well. Power App subscription will include all this.
Okay. So it means like if we don't go with the D365 subscription, then we can't use those functionality in Power Automate.
No, no, no. We can use, that's what I'm telling. So if Dynamics
Okay.
365 subscription is not there, but if you still want to make use of the Dataverse, like data resides in the Dataverse, right?
Okay.
Only Dataverse related will be sufficient.
Okay.
And only one more is there, right? At the beginning, I told you the Power BI. So Power BI is also like we do have multiple there. Just for analyzing and reporting purpose, we'll be using the Power BI. It's completely a reporting tool available under Microsoft Power Platform. Yeah. So as part of our training, what are all the topics we supposed to cover? I'll just show you that. So first we'll be going with the model driven app. Why? Because as I told you, Dataverse. So we'll be mainly focusing on the Dataverse data. Sorry. Any question from anyone?
No, no, please continue.
Okay. So what are all the topics we supposed to cover here is uh, under model driven app or MDA. So just like first of all, in order to start with, we should have the trial instance, right? So I'll be showing up how to create that trial and how to add multiple users. So as I told you, model driven app is a security based and user based app. It's not like external customer can you make use of it. So we'll see how to make use of that app and how to add the users and how can we completely set up the uh, admin related things. But most probably we'll not be working with these kind of setups, but still I'll show you how to add users. Okay, why I'm going to focus first on the model driven app is like I want to make use of my dataverse, like Microsoft Dataverse, where my data resides in. So with the help of that data or on top of that data, we are going to build the Canvas model driven app as well as Power Portal, and we will make use of the Power Automate and Power Virtual Agents. So instead of going with some other databases, I'll be preferring the Microsoft Dataverse. That's why before moving to some other apps, I just want to show you how to design your model driven app and how can we do some customizations and how can we create the tables and how we are going to maintain the relationships between the tables. These are the basic customizations or configurations we supposed to do before we move to some other applications. Okay, and what are the solutions we do have? So solution is an important concept, not only for a model driven, even for anything like Canvas, we can maintain everything in a solution actually. So these are all the few topics which I am going to cover as part of the model driven app. So even these topics are not completely binded to the model driven app. These are the basic things which we should know. On top of these basic things, we'll be creating a model driven app. Okay, so model driven app, how we are going to make the UI like that, based on the business requirement or based on our demo, how we want to design our app, we can make use of the existing components to design our application. Okay, and coming to the Canvas app, so what exactly the Canvas we know, like it can be an it's a mobile application, and we can have two different layouts. One is tablet and one is mobile. Underneath of that, as I told you, there will be a controls available. Okay, what are all the different controls we do have, and what is the starting from data? It's nothing but using a template and starting from the scratch. And dataverse integration is nothing but, as I told you, I'm going to work with data resides in the dataverse. I'll show you how to make use of the different connections, but we'll be working with the data in dataverse. And what is a variable concept in Canvas app, and how to navigate, what do you mean by components, and as I told you, there are multiple functions available, and how can we filter in the app level, searching and sorting as well, and different controls, what do we have. Okay, and collections is the important topic we should know, and finally galleries, forms, these are all the controls actually. And Power Automate integration. So we can call the Power Automates even from the Canvas app as well. It can be called from data on the dataverse or directly from the Canvas app on click of button or something. You can integrate the Power Automate as well. Okay, so like that, we'll be designing a simple app underneath the Canvas app, and coming to this Power Automate, what are the different types of flows available? Different types of Power Automates. Under Power Automate, we do have a flows actually, nothing but a cloud flows. So what are the different types of flows? When to use what? And what are triggers, actions, connectors? So I told you, right, there are 275 connectors almost. And error handling, how to make use of the variables even in Power Automate. What are all the different thread operations? Create, read, update, and delete. So how we are going to perform those operations. Different functions we do have, and child flows as well. Like parent Power Automate will be there and child will be there. How to call a child from the parent, and what's a grouping, branching, and what are the different limitations we do have under Power Automate. So these are the few topics, like almost I'm covering most of the topics here. Yeah, so these are the topics which we are going to discuss under Power Automate. The same way for Power Portals. So what exactly the Power Portal is, and different types of authentications. As I told you, local and external authentication, authorization, and the types of users as well. So I told you, like, anonymous users will be there, authenticated users. Like that, we do have two more users, content and portal administrators. What exactly the difference is, we'll discuss, and what exactly the contacts here. So for maintaining the security, the main table I can prefer here is like contacts. You, with the help of contacts only, we'll be able to restrict the access to respective pages, or we'll maintain complete security using the contacts in portals. Okay, what is the site settings and the web pages? What are all the pages we are supposed to see on the UI? Nothing but a web pages. How to configure a web page? We'll be able to see that, and how we are going to integrate this web page with the Dataverse web pages. Like, it's not web page, it's an entity form. So how we are going to configure your forms in the Dataverse or model driven app, the same forms can be rendered in the Power Portal itself. Okay, no need to explicitly design, but still, if you want to design, we do have another option called web templates. We can we can make use of the web templates as well, and web files and web roles. So contacts is an entity. On top of that, we'll be maintaining this web roles. Okay, for maintaining the security. And liquid scripting. So while designing the web template itself, we supposed to know how to write what exactly the liquid scripting is. Okay, so these are the few concepts what we are going to have under Power Portal. Okay, and Power Virtual Agent. So if you cover Power Automate, most of the things will be similar, but how to create a chatbot, we'll be able to see that. Okay, so these are all the topics we are going to cover as part of the training.
Okay. How long is this training, Lata? I mean, how many days?
I am expecting it to be 30 to 35 hours actually.
Okay. Okay. Team, do you guys have any questions, further questions?
Madan, Shrini here.
Yeah, Shrini.
Yeah, I have few questions, but I think we can take it once the team leaves. Probably it would be a question to, yeah, Shiva, Lata, you and me can discuss.
Yeah.
Just 2 minutes after everyone leaves, please.
Okay, then team, guys, if you don't have any questions, you can drop.
Thank you all.
Um,